Hey everybody, welcome to the Unperfect Cook. My name is Jeff Smith. I am the cook behind the scenes. This is our very first video, so bear with us as we make our way through all the process here. We are going to be making a dark chocolate triple layer cake. Yours truly, made by me, the Unperfect Cook. Nothing in this video, no add-ons, no brands have sponsored us. We just want to make that very clear. So we are doing all of this on our own in our own home kitchen. So we are just going to get ready and make our cake. So first we're going to need any box of cake mix that you can find. Since we're going to do this very swiftly and fast, is the idea behind all of these videos, is to get them in, get them out, make them, make these cakes for you guys and make other recipes for you. That's our idea. So with no further ado, our first recipe is going to be our cake. So we are going to get ready to make this cake. What we'll need is, you'll need a box of your favorite cake mix. Considering we're not going to make this homemade, we're going to use box ingredients because nothing is perfect. So first you'll need a cake mix. You'll need, with this cake mix, it calls for 3 eggs, a cup of water, and a third of a cup of vegetable oil, which we all have laid out here. So we're going to get ready and mix this up, pop these bad boys in the oven. So here we go. So we're adding our cake mix over here. 1 cake mix. We're going to add to our cake mix, we are going to add a cup of water. Just like so. We're also going to add a third of a cup of vegetable oil right in there. And I like to mix this before I add my eggs. That way we can make sure those eggs are evenly distributed throughout the cake properly. We want to make sure that we add 1 cake at a time. 1 egg at a time, not 1 cake at a time. So we mix that up pretty good. Alright, now we're going to get ready and take our eggs over here. I'm going to move these beautiful things. Beautiful eggs. And get ready to put them inside of our cake mix. So we're going to add an egg. 1. 2, and 3. I like to make sure that my eggs are at room temperature before I add them to my cake mix. They seem to make the cake fluffier, and it seems to help make it taste a lot better as well. So give that a mix. Make sure that it is really good and mixed up. So we're going to mix it really good. Make sure we don't have any clumps in there. You may have a little bit of clumps in there, considering this is chocolate and it does have some chocolate throughout the cake mix. We're just going to mix this up really good, like so. What I always do to make my cakes not so sweet is I always add just a pinch of salt. That's going to cut out all the sweetness, and it's going to make it where it's not too overbearing. So we've got that mixed up pretty good. I'd say that's pretty good. I'm going to set this to the side. Since we're done mixing all that up, we're going to go ahead and preheat our oven at 350 degrees. So we're going to hit that bake button, and we're going to get started. It's going to take it about 5 minutes for it to heat up, get it to room temp at the 350 degree temperature that we want it at, so that we can get ready to put our cakes in. Now what I'm going to get ready to do is I'm going to take our cake pans. You're going to need 3 if you're going to make a triple layer cake. And guys, just so you know, you can buy all of this ingredient at your local stores. You don't rush out to any high dollar grocery stores to buy all this. You can buy every bit of this at your local stores. We won't mention any names because we don't want nobody else to get offended. I just want to give a shout out real quick to my producer. He has his own YouTube channel at JustinDX1. You can visit his YouTube channel there. He is our producer and our coordinator, our executive producer here for our show. He helps with the ideas, he helps with the staging, he helps with making the videos, putting everything together, making sure all the cameras are right, all that good stuff, the lighting's good, all that wonderful things that we have to have in order to make these videos. So anyways, shout out to Justin Dodd, who is our executive producer coordinator, and he is behind the camera right now. Come on over here, Justin, step up so everybody can meet you. This is my best friend, Justin. He's our computer guy and makes our videos and all that. We just want to say thank you. Thank you for helping us get Unperfect cooked up and running and raring to go.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to step over and throw this away. Alright, so we're going to need 3 8-inch cake pans to make this. We're going to go ahead and spray our pans. You can use whatever cooking spray that you like. You can use butter, you can use oil, whatever. I like coconut spray. It's really good. You can buy this at any of your local stores. So we're just going to spray our pans. Make sure you coat your pans really good because we don't want them to stick. So we want it to look like that. And we're going to do 3 because we're making a 3-layer cake. It's a little smoky from all that. Alright, so we're going to move over and get this distributed into the pans. So we have our pans here. We're going to need 3 of these pans. We're going to add a cup of this cake batter that we have mixed up over here into each one to make sure that they are level and even. So we're going to get our cup measure. So we're going to take a cup of this. Yummy, good stuff right here. And we're going to pour it right into that cake pan. I would advise you to get a spoon of some sort or a spatula, which is what I have over here, if I can reach it, and scrape out all that goodness. We want to make sure these are as even as possible. So we got 1. We're just going to give that a little, we're just going to make sure that the bottom is covered and give that a little tap on the countertop there. We'll set it over and do our next ones. Remember, guys, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, any ideas, recipes, things of that nature, let us know, comment below, like our page, share our page, so that we can tell people and show people how to cook. That is the idea behind this. I am not a professional chef. I don't claim to be. I am your average stay-at-home bro, just making some food. Now, Justin, on the other hand, our coordinator, he's like a master chef. Just kidding. So we're going to take this and we're going to make sure we get the bottom of our pan covered really good. Give it a little tap. Make sure we got it pretty even. Looks like we got a little bit of cake mix left over, but that's okay because guess what? Where there's extras, you can always add more. Alright, here we go. just like so. So people ask us all the time, or ask me all the time, why would you make a cooking show called The Unperfect Cook instead of The Perfect Cook? Because nothing in our videos are intended to make you even think for 1 second that we're perfect. If we were perfect, then guess what? We wouldn't need to be showing people and telling people how to make stuff, right? Alright, so it looks like we have enough to make another layer, so we're going to take this triple layer chocolate cake and turn it into a 4-layer chocolate cake instead of a 3-layer chocolate cake. So I'm going to get out another cake pan. I'm going to give it a little spray over here. Just like so. We're going to spray that down really good. Like I said, nothing is perfect. So guess what? We went from 3 layers to 4 layers, just like that, with no intent to even think. I thought 3 wasn't even going to be enough, but guess what? The way we're doing it, we have enough for 3. So we've got that pretty much spread out and even. Looks like there's going to be enough just to make that 4th one. So we're going to take that and scoop all that goodness out of that cup, like so. And scrape all the sides off. Oh, see, I'm making a mess. Nothing's perfect. So we're going to scrape the rest of this out of the bowl here because we were shy about 1/4 of a cup. And we've got about 1/4 of a cup of batter left in this bowl. So, just like that. And like I said, am making a mess. But, what do you expect when you get an unperfect cook? Alright, so we're going to spread that around the bottom. Our oven is preheating. It's at 325 degrees. We get that little tap. Get all the air bubbles out. Let's set that off to the side. We have our cake batters all set up. Our timer just went off for our oven, which means we are at perfect temperature at 350 degrees. So we have all of our cake batters evenly distributed out. It is barely enough to cover the bottom of the pans. When that rises up, it's going to make 4 even layers of cake. Make sure you spray your pans really, really good, because if not, they're going to stick, and nobody wants a cake that sticks, okay? Guys, always remember that when you're making a cake, you're dealing with an oven, you're dealing with fire. Please be cautious. Make sure that you have a fire extinguisher by hand, or you have a phone close by so that you can call 911 in case of an emergency. Nothing is perfect. Like I said, nothing. So, I don't claim to be perfect, just like I just ripped that paper towel, which is not perfect. So, anyways. Our oven is ready, so we're going to take these and we're going to pop them in the oven at 350 degrees. We're going to place those in the oven for approximately 26 to 31 minutes. Now we're going to put those on the top oven rack because we don't want those to be on the bottom oven rack, because if we do, they are going to burn and scorch on the bottom. Now remember, we're going to put these in the oven for about 26 minutes. We're going to hit our timer. We're going to hit 25 just to be safe, because they're not as full as they normally would be. We're just going to keep an eye on that. We're going to get that started and let that cook for you guys. We're going to take a few moments and I'm going to clean up, and we're going to get ready to do our staging and all that. For our cakes, we're going to, when those come out of the oven, I'll show you what it looks like when they're coming out. Okay? Alright, so we're going to come out of the oven. The timer just went off for it. It was in there for about 26 minutes. Remember, we turned that triple layer cake into a quad layer chocolate cake. So anyways, we're going to pull that out of the oven. The timer just went off. They are perfect. They look good. They're really good. So we're excited to do that. With this triple chocolate cake, we're going to make the frosting. We're going to make a chocolate frosting with a chocolate ganache, with a white chocolate ganache, with our favorite candy bars. And we're going to put that all over the cake, and we are going to have a ball eating it later on this evening. We're going to get ready to take this out of the oven right now, and we're going to pull it out, and we're going to let them cool for a few minutes. They should look like that. Unperfect. So we're going to pull those out. These layers are going to be wonderful. Now, considering these layers are only, there's 4 layers here, and they're not as thick as your average cake, so they're not going to take as long to cool. We're going to let these cool for probably about 25-30 minutes. We're going to make sure you can test that. The way I test it is I just take, after you wash your hands, press on it, feel, see if it's cool. If it ain't cool, it ain't cool. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, this is what you want your cakes to come out looking like. Got a nice little crust around the edge. I did wash my hands, just so you know. So there's a nice little crust there. We're going to let that cool in the pan. Remember, leave it in the pan. Let it cool in the pan. Once that oil crystallizes, it's going to make it where it's easier for it to come out of the pan. So we took our triple layer cake and turned it into a quad layer cake. So we're going to set these over to cool, and we will be right back to show you how to put this wonderful cake together. Alright, so now we're going to get ready to make our ganache for our quadruple layer chocolate cake today. So what you're going to need, I've already made the chocolate ganache, the regular chocolate ganache, which as you can see here. You can get this recipe on our other video under the chocolate ganache video on how to make this chocolate ganache. It's very easy. It's quick, and you can let it cool, and it stays about this consistency until you're ready to use it. Our cake has already cooled down. We have them over here, as you can see. So we'll show you how to stage and decorate and all that good stuff next on the video. So over here in our saucepan, we have our heavy whipping cream. We've got about 3/4 of a cup of heavy whipping cream. And in this container, we have our white chocolate morsels. We have a cup, as you can see on the reading here. So we're going to add this cup of white chocolate morsels to our mixing bowl. I'm going to set the chocolate one that we have here, the cocoa chocolate one that I've already made. I'm going to set that one to the side, out of the way, so that we're focusing in on this one. So we've added 1 cup of white chocolate morsels. We've got our heavy whipping cream over here on the eye. We're going to make sure that it does not boil over. We don't want to boil it over, like I stated before previously in the video. So we've got it over here. We've got it warming up. We've got it heating up. We're going to keep an eye on it and make sure that it's not boiling over too much. So as we wait on this to warm up, I got the hiccups. As we're waiting on this to warm up over here, you can start to see that above that. Anyway, so we've got our white chocolate morsels. Our heavy whipping cream, as you can see, has started to boil. As you can see there, you can see the moisture coming off the top, the steam. It looks so good. It's going to be real good. So we got our morsels in here. We're just going to add that to the morsels, just like so. 3/4 cup of heavy whipping cream to 1 cup of chocolate, white chocolate, any kind of morsels that you want. We'll let that cool down for just a second. We're going to get our vegetable oil. Some people use butter. I like to use vegetable oil. It makes it a little more glossy. And we're just going to add about 1/4 of a tablespoon to that. Let me see if I can find my measure here. Even though we don't really measure on, well, we're going to use 1/2 of a teaspoon. Measure this out a little bit. You don't want to use a lot. You don't want to use too much, because then it starts separating the chocolate, and it makes the chocolate not so good. So that is sitting. It is starting to melt those morsels. If you go to stirring those morsels right when that heavy whipping cream comes off of the stove, then it is going to start to cook those morsels. We don't want to do that. We just simply want it to melt it. So we're going to let it cool for just a moment. We're going to add a pinch of sea salt, is what I have here, to kind of break up some of the sweetness. So we've added a little bit of sea salt, as you can tell. So it looks like it is about ready for us to stir. Maybe 3-5 minutes and then start stirring. Stir slowly, stir softly. That way that you get it all evenly stirred and mixed and all that good stuff. You stir it too fast, it's going to start clumping up and it's not going to be pretty to use. We have not made white chocolate ganache before. We've made chocolate ganache before in our other video, which we did not make before, but we made it now. So we have it. So we're just going to give that a little stir. Looks like it's starting to come together. It may not. It may work and it may not. So, just so you know. So we're going to give that a, now that it seems to be stirred up pretty good, we're going to give that a quick stir. That way it starts to heat all that up and start settling down, because we're going to use that. So anyways, as you can see, this is about the consistency. This is about what it's going to look like. Looks more like icing than anything right now, for like a donut or whatever. So if you want to make white chocolate donuts, use this white chocolate ganache. Maybe one day we'll make some donuts on the show. We don't know yet. I like donuts. Justin likes donuts as he sits behind the camera rubbing his belly. So anyways, we've got that mixed up. We're going to let that sit for about 5-10 minutes, and then we're going to go into our staging process. To this white chocolate, what I'm going to do, I did not do this to the chocolate ganache, but I'm thinking I might do this to the white chocolate ganache. Not really sure yet. But you can always add, like, I would say 1/4 of a cup of powdered sugar to it to make it a little thicker. Be careful though, start off with tablespoons or teaspoons when you go to adding that confectionate sugar in there, because you don't want to get it too thick on that white chocolate. This white chocolate looks to be thickening fairly quickly, and then again, you may not even need any powdered sugar. So that is how you make white chocolate ganache. So stay tuned, stay with us. We're going to get ready to make the staging of the cake and decorate the cake, and we'll go into that. But first, we are going to move on over to making our icing for our cake, our favorite part. So we've got our mixing bowl, which I have here, which I always use a clear mixing bowl so that you guys can see what it looks like as it's stirred and what it looks like in the finished project. It's easier to hold it up. So we're going to make icing now. We're going to use 2 different kinds of colored icing. We're going to use cream cheese icing, which I've already made and mixed up. I'm going to show you how we're going to do it with the chocolate fudge icing. This is a rich and creamy chocolate frosting. And you can get this at any brand, or you can make your own. I do make my own sometimes, but today we're just going to use the containers. So you're going to get 1 pound or 1/16 ounce of chocolate icing, creamy, rich chocolate icing. And we're going to take the lid off that. So we take that off, set this out of our way for just a moment. As you can see, I've already made the white cream cheese frosting that we're going to also use for this cake. It is pretty thick. That's what consistency we want it at, because if it does start to heat up, then it's not too runny off the cake. So we're going to make sure that we have it just like so, about that thick and about that consistency. Oh, I just threw some icing everywhere. Nothing's perfect on the Unperfect Cook. So we want it to be at about that consistency, sticking to the whisk, so that we can use it when we get ready to decorate the cake. So we're going to stir our white chocolate ganache again, because we don't want that sugar to rise to the top. We want it to be mixed out evenly throughout. Now, if it gets too thick, that ganache, we're going back to that for just a second. If it gets too thick, you can pop it in the microwave for about 10 seconds to heat it up. Don't cook it any longer than 10 seconds, because if you do, then it's going to start to scorch the chocolate, and that's never good for when you're making your cake. So anyways, we're going to take our frosting, and we're going to put it right inside this big old mixing bowl. Probably could have used a smaller bowl, but I like to use the glass one, considering you guys can see it being mixed up and all that good stuff. We are really, oh, I threw chocolate all over me. I'm telling y'all, nothing is perfect in the kitchen. If it is, then I need to come to your house and learn how to cook. I'm just saying. So, okay, so we've got all of our icing out of our container, and we're just going to set that over to the side out of the way for just a moment. And so we've got our chocolate here. As you can see, it's pretty thick, so we're probably going to add about 1/3 of a cup of confectionate sugar, just to kind of thicken it up just a little bit. I'm not even going to use 1/3 of a cup. I'm probably going to use 1/4 of a cup. Let's make it a little bit smaller. As you can see, we're not using the entire amount. We just want to thicken it up a little bit because sometimes that can be just a little too runny on that frosting, especially depending on how hot your kitchen gets. So anyways, we're just going to fold this in like so to thicken that icing up just like that. So anyways, I'm just going to mix that up a good bit. We're going to use the spatula. Usually I use a whisk, but all of my whisks are currently busy at the moment. As you can see. So we're doing a lot for this cake. I know it seems like it's going to be a lot, but realistically, when you're doing this, it's going to take you about 2 hours to make this cake, including the cooling time and all that good stuff, which is fine, you know, especially when you're making cake for someone you love or someone's birthday, or if you're like me and you just want to eat some cake. That's what we're going to do. So this is about the consistency of that icing. As you can tell, it's pretty thick. It's not falling off the spatula. We want to be able to rub that over the cake. And plus, when you add, this is a little secret to when you add powdered sugar to your frosting. If you buy store-bought frosting, it gives you a little bit more frosting. Just saying. So, I'm going to mix that up really good. That looks really good. Okay. And we're going to set that off to the side. So, I'm going to set all this off to the side there. I made a mess. Let me wash my hands real quickly. Now, as I will tell you guys, just like I've told you before, and nothing is perfect on the Unperfect Cook. So we're not going to have a video footage of me mixing that icing up because I forgot to hit the record button. So that's how perfect it is in the Unperfect Cook world. Remember, this is our first video, so bear with us as we make our way through all of this. So anyways, now we're going to get ready to stage our cake. Yeah. Alright, so now we're going to get ready to stage and make our beautiful cake. So you're going to need a cake plate. Of course, you can buy a glass one like I have here, or you can get a plastic one, or whatever. You can even just put it on a plate, whatever you want to do. I'm going to use this cake plate because I like to use a cake plate. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our cake that has cooled completely. We're going to take it out of the pan like so. As you can see, it's got a nice crust around it. It's nice and soft and not too hard, whatever. We're going to take a little bit of our frosting. This is a key factor for me, and we're going to put that right on the bottom of that cake plate. What that's going to do is keep the cake from sliding. Everybody hates that cake that slides when they have to transport it or when they're busy trying to decorate it. So we're going to, you know, put a little frosting down there, and plus, who doesn't like a little frosting on their crust? I know, I'm so hilarious. Alright, so we've smeared that out across the bottom of our cake plate. We're going to take our cake, and we have decided that we have got these in pretty much order, I do believe. So, I've got to try to remember here that this is the bottom. So we're going to take that, and we're going to lay it just like so. Now, as you can see, don't be afraid. when you've got a little side that's a little higher than the other, because what we're going to do is we're going to play with it. Okay? So to make it fit and to make it look good. So this is our third layer, our second layer, and then our first layer, which is going to be our top layer, considering it is the flattest. So we've got this. So what we're going to get ready to do is we're going to take our chocolate frosting that we've made, and we're going to put some right on top of that. Now I'm going to put this spoon in the sink. So we're going to take our frosting out. We're going to get us a good heaping spoonful right on the top of that cake, just like so. Maybe a little more. We want to make sure we have plenty. Remember, the more icing you make, the more that you can pull out of the fridge and eat later. Especially on those nights when you're watching movies and, you know, you're bored and you have nothing to do, or you live alone like I do and you have no peeps that come over to visit, so you're the typical fatty and you're like me and you lay around and you eat cake. No offense to any big people, because I'm a fatty myself. So what I'm going to do is I've taken that and I've spread it evenly across the top of our cake. And as you can see, I am rotating it, trying to get as much icing on that cake as possible. Just like so. And everybody says, oh, well, it's still leaning. What do you do when it leans? Add more icing to that side to level it out, right? Who doesn't like a little extra layering? Alright, so we've got that chocolate there. I'm going to regret using a white towel later, but I got some bleach, so it'll be alright. So we got our first layer, just like so. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put our third layer on, just like so. And we're going to flip it upside down. We're going to try to find and see if we have any missed levels or spots that are not level. Pretty much got our thick side on this side, and you can see how that starts to level out the cake there, like so. Now we're going to rotate. So we used our chocolate frosting for the bottom layer. We're going to use our cream cheese frosting for the third layer. So we're going to take a good heaping spoonful out of there for that. We're going to put it right on the center of that cake, like so. Remember, nothing's perfect in the Unperfect Cook, or on the Unperfect Cook by that matter. So we're going to set this to the side, like so. And we're going to just take our spatula, put it down in the center, and we're going to rotate our cake plate. It's going to help us spread it out evenly without having to fight or or worrying about the crumbs coming up on the bottom of that cake. Nobody wants crumbs all over their icing, unless you're fat like me. Because I like to see the crumbs mixed up in the icing. It means that it was made at home, not in a bake shop or at your local grocery store or whatever. Means it's fresh, it's good, it's nice. Now, sometimes the cake slides. That's just part of it. It's okay. We're going to live. We're going to get through it. Because at the end of the day, if you really are trying to impress somebody or stage this cake appropriately, you can take you some toothpicks and stick down in there. That cake ain't going nowhere. But I think we've got it pretty well balanced. Just make sure that your layers are right on top of each other, just like so. So there we go. We got our second layer on. We're going to go ahead and do our third layer. Now we're going to look for any unleveled spots. I think we've got another unleveled little spot over here. We're going to put that third layer right on top of there. Guys, if you can't see this cake and see how wonderful this cake looks already, you are losing it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add, well, if I can find it, some more chocolate icing. Gotta have that icing. So we're going to take that icing, we're going to put it right in the center of that. Yummy! Justin and I have both tasted this. The producers have tasted this icing. It is amazing. we're going to save a little bit of that chocolate icing for eating later. I have put our chocolate ganache in a little bit of hot water so that it would stay warm. We're just gonna take a Ziploc bag and put our chocolate ganache in there. We're gonna give it a little mix up so that it's warm, right? So as that's mixing up, I used the Ziploc bag. You don't need a piping bag. You ain't gotta have all that to make it pretty. Just a good old Ziploc bag will do the trick. So I'm just going to set that over right here on the side for just a moment. We're going to take our chocolate ganache. And we want to put our chocolate ganache on. Well, I was looking for the scissors, trying not to do a complete spin on you guys. But we're going to take our chocolate ganache. I'm going to hold it over a bowl or sink or whatever. We're just going to take the tip of that off. Just like so. Just barely any of it. And we're just going to take that and we're going to drizzle it right over the edge of this cake. Guys, this is heaven on earth. Look at this cake. Wow. Right? So we've got that chocolate ganache all over this cake. Alright? So we're going to take that chocolate ganache, we're going to set it to the side. Alright, so now we're going to take our white chocolate ganache that we've made and we're going to drizzle this white chocolate ganache all over the top of this cake. Oh, this is, oh, we're making a mess. This is amazing. I am making a mess with this. Woo, we're making a mess. For the final touches, we've got some different kinds of chocolate morsels we're going to put on top of there. So we're going to sprinkle some of these mini chocolates right over the top. Oh, just delicious. Delicious. Right? Yum. Look at this. Perfect. Perfect in my eyes, maybe not perfect in yours, which is okay, because we are going to enjoy eating this cake. And we're going to take some of those white morsels and sprinkle those over the top. Yum. Now I've got some candy bars that I like to eat. I'm not going to show you the brand, but we've got some candy bars. We're going to put those right on top too. We've taken those and we've just crushed them up with our fingers. You don't need a knife and a rolling pin and all that good stuff. Just cut them up. Take you a couple of those. Put them on the top. This cake is delicious. Delicious. So we're going to take those and just put them throughout. Oh, one fell off. And another one says, roll over, roll over. Anyways, like I said, nothing is perfect on the Unperfect Cook. So we're just going to put those all on there like so. Remember to like, subscribe, and share our videos so that everyone across the world and the seas. That is our cake. That is how we're doing it. That is what we're going to be eating later. And I'm going to show you guys the full scale on this so you guys can see. Look at this. Look at this. Just beautiful. This cake is absolutely stunning. Just beautiful cake altogether. Just alright, so thank you for watching the Unperfect Cook. I hope you'll join us next time Remember to like, subscribe, and share our videos. Like down in the comments. Type up there what you would like for us to cook next time that we go and do our show. Remember to like and subscribe. Justin DX1 on YouTube as well. He is our production coordinator. Thank you for tuning in to our very first show. We promise not to have so many mishaps and all that mess ups next time that we're on and we're making these videos for you guys. Thank you for watching. This is our very first cake on Unperfect Cooked. I've made a lot of cakes in my days. Remember to go and like the chocolate ganache recipe and video that we'll have on the YouTube channel. We hope to see you guys next time. Remember, like, share, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff at Unperfect Cook. Or send me an email at unperfectcook@gmail.com. And we will see you guys next time. Remember, like and subscribe.